Okay, so in this question you have to find the missing third side. So we have, for the first question, we have 6 and 8, but we're missing this side here. So this is a theorem of Pythagoras question, because we have two sides of a triangle. They're the ones highlighted in yellow, and we're missing a side. We're missing one side. So you use the theorem of Pythagoras. So the first thing you do is here's the steps, you label the sides. Okay? You label the sides with 3 letters. The first letter you label is, you find the hypotenuse, H. Now, this is the side across from the right angle. The right angle is a 90-degree angle, and you'll see it because it has a little box in the corner. So you see that there, that's the right angle. So across from that is H. On this one, it's over here, H. And on this one, it would be over here, H. That's the most important side to label. The other two sides, A and B, it doesn't matter which is which. Okay, so the other sides, it doesn't matter which is which. So I can call this one A and I can call this one B. Or if I wanted, I could call this one A and this one B. It doesn't make a difference. So that's A, we call that one A, and we call this one B, and we call this one A, and we call this one B. Okay, so we've labeled the sides. Now, second step is to write down the theorem. The theorem is given to you in the logbook. It's H squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So you write down the theorem, then you fill in or sub in the numbers you have. So I know what A is, sorry, I know what H is. It's a letter. It's X, so I say X squared. What's A? A is 8, so 8 squared. Plus B, what's B? 6, so 6 squared. Oh, I just used my calculator to tidy up. So X squared is still going to be X squared. There's nothing I can do there. But 8 squared is 64 and 6 squared is 36. Add those two numbers together and you get 100. Very last thing is you bring the squared over. Okay, because you don't want to know what X squared is. You want to know what X is. So you bring that power of 2 over to the other side. And when you bring it over to the other side, it changes to a square root. And the square root of 100 is 10. So you found that missing side. Now the other question, this one here, is done the exact same way as that what we just did there. There's a slight difference in this triangle, because in that triangle, in that one there, you have H. So let's follow the steps all the same. We've labeled the sides, we've done that already. Now we're going to write down the theorem. So the theorem is H squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. We're going to fill in the numbers that we have. And this time we have H. So H is 17. So we say 17 squared. We don't have A. It's called Z. So we don't have that. We're going to find that. And we have B. It's 15. So next step then is to use our calculator. And where's my calculator? Here it is here. 17 squared is 289. So 289 is equal to, now Z squared is still going to be Z squared. And of course 15 squared is 225. Now here's where there's an extra little step involved. Because we're looking for Z, we need to get Z on its own. So we need to bring this over the equal sign to be on the same side as the other number. So that 289 is still there. That's not moving anywhere. But we're moving that plus 225. So it's going to become a minus 225. And the Z squared stays where it is. Now 289 minus 225 is 64. So 64 is z squared. And then just like before, on the other question, we don't want to know what z squared is. So we need to move that power of 2 over. And when you move a power of 2 over, it becomes a square root on the other side. And of course, the square root of 64 is 8. So we found what z is. Okay, there's those two questions. You do the middle one, and you follow those steps there exactly. So the middle one is done the exact same way as we did the first one. You don't need to move anything in that middle one, because it's h that you're missing, and it's already on its own. Now the next type of question is, that was actually the last questions you got. I started at the end, whoopsie daisy. So up at these ones, this is where you're looking for corresponding angles. And in general, when you have a cross and then another line, if you focus up on the top bit and you give each one of them a color, so give that angle a color, give that angle a color, give that angle a color, and give that angle a color. If you look at the next cross below it, put the colors in the exact same places as you just did with the top one, because all of those angles are equal to each other. Okay, so the purple one is equal to the purple one, the green one is equal to the green one, the yellow one is equal to the yellow one, and the blue one is equal to the blue one, because they're corresponding. So you apply that principle now to these questions here. And let's get the colors. It's very useful to use colors in these questions. So highlight that one yellow, that one blue, this one green, and this one purple. And do the same thing below. So this one is the yellow one, this one is the blue one, this one is the green one, and this one is the purple one. Okay? And then see if there's anything that can help us. Not quite yet. So we need to remember the other little rule in geometry, and that's when you have a straight line, which is what this line here is, it's a straight line, an angle that's made is 180 degrees. All of that is 180 degrees. So that means all of this is 180 degrees. So if I know where 70 of it is, well then that must be 110. If I want to do it out, I say 180 minus the 70, and that gives me 110. So I know that that's 110. Okay, so A is 110. Now how did I find that? Because I just used the 180 degree straight line rule. It's a straight line, so I know it must be 110. There's also another rule where if you have two lines like that, the angle here is the same as the angle opposite it. Okay? It's like and then the angle here would be the same as the angle opposite that. So if that's the case, if that's 70, well then this is 70. Because you can see the x there. That angle is the same as that angle. They're vertically opposite. So, and if that's 70, well then this is 70. Okay, because they're corresponding. They're both blue. So B is equal to 70. It's corresponding. Now, if you look at this next question, this is 40. Now, all of it is 180. Use the straight line rule. Well, that means that this is 140. And if we put in our colors, let's call that the yellow angle, this the blue angle, this is the green angle, and this is the purple angle. And then apply the same to above, the other place. That would be the yellow, that would be the blue, that would be the green, and that would be the purple. We now know that this angle down here is 140. And we know that C is the same as that angle, because they're corresponding. So C is equal to 140 degrees. It's corresponding. Okay, over here, same thing again. We know that this is 55, and we know that all of it is 180. So we say 180, take away the 55 to see what you're left with. you're left with 125. So put 125 in there. That's 125. Now get your highlighter out. That's the yellow, that's the blue, that's the green, that's the purple. Do the same up to the other angle. That's the yellow, that's the blue, that's the green, that's the purple. Okay, it means that we're almost, still don't have the green and purples yet, but we can find them very easily because of what I said a minute ago. If this angle is the same as this angle, well then if that's 55, this is 55. And if this is 125, this is 125. So now I know that E is equal to 125 and that D is equal to 55. Okay. Now there's a general rule in triangles that all three angles add up to 180. So 80 plus the 50 plus A, whatever it is, all comes to 180. So if I just leave A where it is and leave the 180 where it is and bring the numbers over to the other side, they'll change to a minus, but I'll be able to find what A is. It's going to be 50. So A is 50. Now here, there's a rule in triangles that when you have a triangle and the triangle extends a little bit out at the bottom, so there's another line, that bottom line just goes longer than the actual triangle. That angle that's formed out there, that big angle, that's actually equal to the two inner opposite angles added together. So 140 in this case would be equal to that angle plus that angle. That's a rule. So 140 is equal to 70 plus B. Now if I just bring my numbers all onto the same side, that'll change to a minus, but I'll be left with B on its own. And 140 take away 70 is 70, so 70 equals B. Okay, we were using that rule. Now in this triangle here, these two sides are the same because of those two straight lines. So that means that this side is the same as this side. That's what that means. It's an isosceles triangle. And when you have an isosceles triangle, it means that the angles are equal as well. So those two angles are equal. So we can also call that angle C. Now we know that all three angles in a triangle add up to 180. So this angle plus this angle plus the other angle, you're also going to call that C because it's the same as C, all add up to 180. That means 44 plus 2 C's, because there's 2 C's, C plus C is 2 C's, is equal to 180. That means 2C is equal to 180. Now bring that 44 over, changes to a minus 44. Get the numbers all on the same side. That is equal to 136. Now I don't like that. I don't want to know what 2C is. I want to know what 1C is. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. And the reason for that is it'll cancel that 2 there. And I'll just be left with C is equal to 68 degrees. That's that one done. Now down here, we're going to use either the 360 rule or the 180 rule. Remember, there's a straight line right there. All of that adds up to 180. That means 140 plus A is equal to 180. So A would be equal to 180 minus 140. So A is equal to 40. Now in the other one, here in the second middle question, we're not using a straight line. We're using a whole circle. And in a whole circle, they all add up to 360. So we'd need to say 130 plus 150 plus B will add up to 360. Leave B where it is and bring the other numbers over. And you're left with B is equal to 280 is equal to 80 degrees, I think. I'm doing that quick in my head now. Double check that. And the very last one, this one here, is done the same as this one here.